Hello everybody, welcome to a weekly forecast video that I haven't put out in a couple of weeks here. Been fairly busy, had a little bit of time this evening now. Managed to sit down and have a quick peek at the markets here and give you some thoughts of mine for what's coming up here on the week. And so we're talking the week of obviously October 15th to the 19th. So just start real quick, economic calendar, some U.S. dollar news coming out, core retail sales and retail sales meeting minutes, 8:30 a.m. New York time. Nothing in the way of pre-New York news, though, in London or anything like that. And I might just actually, just for completeness sake here, 1 second, I'm going to bring up another economic calendar for you guys to have a quick peek at. And while it's coming up, we got some Canadian dollar, Bank of Canada business outlook surveys, tentative treasury currency report, and so that's Monday. A couple of pretty high impact news events, and finishes off with some Aussie monetary meeting minutes late in the day Monday. Going into Tuesday, we've got some cable, we've got some more Canadian dollar, some more cable news, and FOMC speaking. Wednesday, we've got I shouldn't say cable, I should say pound, CPI, and a whole bunch of medium impacts news events for Wednesday, and a whole bunch more of that for the U.S. dollar and Canadian dollar and the euro, pretty much throughout the day. So we should see some movement on Wednesday for sure. And then we've got late in the day FOMC meeting minutes. So just keep an eye on Wednesday, because typically what happens when you get late in the day news events like this, you'll see late runners. So what they'll typically do is, if you're expecting a range to get fulfilled, that range typically won't get hit until later in the day, after almost towards the end of the trading day, the actual close of equities and everything else. So just keep an eye on that on Wednesday. It may take a little while for some of your moves to come to fruition. And then we've got some Australian, high-impact Australian dollar news. And then going into Thursday, just a couple of other news events here, economic summit and the retail sales. So should see Thursday move pretty good too, and Philly Fed manufacturing and FOMC all week long, FOMC. So I'm predicting this week to be a pretty good mover. Last week we saw great movement on the in the markets, and I'm hoping we see a continuation of that. And then right into Friday, where we've got a whole lot of Canadian dollar news events, and then late New York, almost, this is about just about London close. We've got Bank of England Governor Carney speaking, so could see a late in the day mover on cable. Now, I was just bringing up the fact of maybe there might be something else pre-New York open on Monday. And I just wanted to bring that up here just so you can see we've got some yen news, low impact, obviously. We've got some Swissy news, and then, but again, that's it. So we are pretty void of news events before New York open on Monday. And then again, you can see the retail sales news coming out, high impact news events for the dollar, and some medium impact news events there, and then Bank of Canada, and etc., on and on. So with that being said, now we know sort of what's coming up. Nothing too major. I don't believe we're going to see any whipsaw in price action or anything crazy like that. Last week was sort of the week to do all of that, and we did see some good movers. As you can see, I'm going to zoom in. This is U.S. dollar. This is Sunday's open candle right here. Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday actually made the high of the week, and it just swept the previous highs from the week before and fell right out. And if you were part of my Tuesday London Open, this was before this candle happened. We were still sitting pretty much right about here in price last Tuesday, and I said I wanted to see a run up. It actually surprised me it got up this high. I was expecting a quick move above this candle here, but nothing to the magnitude of what it did. It swept all of those highs there and plunged for the rest of the week. So I was expecting that to happen. And then if you saw on Thursday, I did a London Open session as well. I said Thursday is going to dive down. I was actually looking for Thursday to come right down under the 94.50 level, and that's just these two lows right in here. I was really hoping to see that happen. And we didn't quite get that. Obviously, we just fell short. But we did take out this low here considerably, and that was the one for sure that I knew was going to get hit. Wednesday had closed here, just falling short, and then Thursday I wanted to see push down and through. I wanted to see go, again, a little bit lower than 94.55. Didn't quite get it. And then Friday I said we'll see a nice big retracement on Friday, and that's, last week was pretty much called to the T. With the exception of the exact high and the exact low. I didn't quite have that pegged, but we still we still had the general market bias, and that's what's important. So hopefully you guys got a few pips out of some of my calls last week, and had a profitable week. So this week, I'll be honest with you, it's kind of anybody's guess. I'm looking at this and saying, well, we definitely have come out of this downward trend. So this downward trend to down here, and I'll just maybe mark this out like, I don't know, like this. So we've got a nice downward trend like this that we're now out of, and I don't like that. Give me 1 second. Let me just fix this up here. Okay, so that channel's been broken. We came to the upside, just ran the highs here on Tuesday, and we've rejected. So one of two things. I mean, honestly, we could keep coming back down. I've got 94.10 listed on the chart here. We could even come and run as deep as 94.10. It wouldn't surprise me. Maybe even bounce off. See these old 1-2 daily highs in here? We could even come down and retag off of these levels in here. And that would come in at 94, about 94.30. So if we do see price start to give way here going in early into the week, then I would expect this level to get broken down here, obviously, and then price to hopefully hold up about that 94.30 level. If we keeps on dropping, then this sort of right here, this 94.10 to 94 even is going to be my line in the sand. Like, I don't want to see price come down, this blue line right here. I really don't want to see price come down any lower than this guy right here. If we go lower than there, then I'm probably going to transfer, try to take out these lows down here, and then eventually these lows here, which I thought they were going to come down here and get, but we've rejected that. And that could just be a real quick, simple rejection to come up and grab the stops above these market highs here, put everyone offside, and then run those lows. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. But I kind of think that this downward move, we had two symmetrical moves to the downside. You can see here we had one, and then second symmetrical move right there. You can see that relatively. If you take it to the low to the high, missed it maybe by a pip or two, but you get the idea. And now we've since broken that market structure. So I think personally that we're going to be going to the upside. Seasonally speaking, the U.S. dollar is coming out of the seasonal lows, and it should be making new highs going into the end of the year. Dollar is typically fairly strong. So that's sort of what I'm anticipating. But right now we're still trapped in this consolidation. You see this consolidation range right here? How price is spending a lot of time in here, in here, and in here. We're still technically in that. Yes, we dipped out, but now we're pretty much just about to go right back into it. So if price can get above, I'd like to see price, it still hasn't quite done yet, but there's a gap right here. If you see that, maybe I'll take off these data dividers. I'm looking for that to get filled. And then we've also just had a new gap that's just created right here off of the Sunday's opening as well. So what I'm personally thinking is that I believe this is probably going to be the low. I think if they wanted to come down and run these two lows under here, they would have done it here, and they wouldn't have had such a big push up on this move here. It's definitely still possible that they could come down, but I think the likelihood is going to be more so to the upside for this week. And then when price starts to get and trade back up into here, this is sort of the area right in here that I believe, I don't like that color. Let me just change that to a, we'll do blue, sure, that'll work. When price gets back up into this level in here, that's where I'm going to be starting to look and see if it's going to top out and sort of run out of gas and then want to come back down, or if it's going to have the strength to get up in there. Now, I don't believe it's just going to go straight up there. This week, I'm expecting this small gap to get filled, and I'm expecting this gap to get filled. And where it goes from there, I honestly couldn't tell you guys. Again, we're just right in the middle of this, consolidation rate here, roughly. And until it gets out of there, it's sort of anybody's guess. I like how it came all the way down, took out these lows here, and didn't really want to get underneath these lows here. That kind of leads me to believe that there's some underlying strength. So let's go with that. Again, seasonally speaking, everything else, I'm a little bit pushing more towards the bullish side on U.S. dollar. And what would change that idea is if price came down and it broke through this little, see how price 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lows in there. If those get broken, then we're definitely going to come down. We're probably going to retest the area back in here. But if we can stay above this level, if we can stay above the 74.70 level, I'm sorry, 94.70 level, then I believe we had got a pretty good shot to start going back up and to re-challenging these old highs in here. So that's going to be what my bias is going to be on the week and what I'm going to look for. So, you know, the thing is, though, what I don't want to see, I don't want to see price run up Monday and Tuesday, fill this gap in, and then start to lose momentum. Because if it does that, then there's a good possibility it could do this. I'd rather see the opposite. I'd rather see price start out here, come down, fill this gap. And, I mean, it could certainly dip down to 94.70. I'm not going to rule that out. But I'd like to see price sort of hold up at the gap-ish and then make a break to the upside. So I'd like it to happen in that order. I believe in my mind, then there wouldn't be any reason really for them to come back down, fill that gap in, and then they can push to the upside. So that's what I'm going to be looking for this week. So if we are assuming this market structure, then we can go over to the euro and find out and basically take the opposite trades in the euro. So again, we had a very, very, very small gap. I'll just bring it up here right now. Very small gap on the euro that's already been filled. So I'm not expecting anything on the euro here to have to worry about coming up or anything like that. They may want to jam it up one time. There's a small pocket of price area up here. They may want to reach up and try to snag. So if you do see a bit of a dive, I'll bring this up. If you do see this bit of a dive down here in price, I wouldn't be too concerned if they just wanted to briefly come above here. I'd be looking for a rejection above there, real quick 1-2 candle, and then reject. And then we could see this thing potentially going lower. But look at the nice topping pattern up in here. We had a nice run up last week. Again, Tuesday. This was Friday's candle, Thursday, Wednesday. Tuesday creating the low of the week. So again, Monday came down. Tuesday smashed through Monday's low and then ripped up from there. Wednesday, Thursday, nice movement up days. And I actually was doing a Thursday London Open when this candle was pushing up into here. And I said, I want to see price come and trade right down into here and trade higher. Hopefully all of you guys got in on that long because I called that absolutely perfect. I'll just go back to that. I just wanted to see this sort of range in price of these two small consolidation patterns in here get tagged and see a run to the upside, and that's exactly what happened. So again, it should I'm looking for the week to kind of pan out the exact opposite, come up into here, maybe potentially run up into here. Again, I won't rule that out, and then start to drop. So that's sort of what I'm looking at, and my targets on the week are going to be the same corresponding area as what the dollar is before it comes down into this low here and starts to get some indecision. If we see any weakness in this area, I want to make sure I be taking off all my positions down in here, pretty much right at this level here that I've got. And I'll bring up a price chart at, call it 114.60. I like that area there. So if we do see a push down, I'll definitely be taking the majority of my trade off. I might leave a little bit on to see if it wants to challenge this low in here, but I believe that that'll be the target for the week. So, and again, same type of idea, line in the sand on this guy. If we see price push above here, then I don't want to see price go any higher than this consolidation range up in here. That's my line in the sand right up there for the week. And again, I'm not interested in really seeing if price pushes up higher. See these two lows right here, 1, 2. I don't want to see price go any higher than that to the upside. So if we do see price starting to push up into there, I'm really not. If I did see price run to here and I did get short, I don't want to see it go any higher than that to the upside. So if it did, if it even by maybe even 5 pips or maybe 10 pips, I'd give it, but no more than that, I'd be collapsing that trade, and then I'd be sitting on the sidelines to see what the move wanted to do. But this is sort of what I'm looking for on the week. And then I've got a small position on cable that I just saw. Again, just a gap fill, same type of idea. I want to see that push up and recapitalize this down candle here. I can't imagine this thing going I've got my target up here, but as soon as it closes this gap, I'm going to take the majority of my position off. The only reason I'm looking at this on cable is it's been showing a lot of strength lately in comparison to what the euro has been doing. You can see the weakness on the euro, but the pound has been showing relative strength. So they failed to get above this high last week, and I want to see if they're going to do it. Maybe just one quick push up there. It may not happen. It may happen. I don't know. But I'm going to exit 90% of my trade as soon as this gap gets filled in right there. And I might leave a small percentage on just to and bring my stop to break even plus a few, and then I'm going to leave my stop. I'll leave the rest to see if it wants to try and challenge this high in here. Doubt it'll get there again, but just a quick trade idea. Ultimately, I would think that this should roll over if the U.S. dollar starts catapulting higher. Then we should see the pound dollar going lower in unison with a euro USD. So I would be looking to see if they want to challenge these lows under here. For sure. If they do this gap fill here, I'd be looking for them to come down and sweep underneath those two lows there. And that's really, I've got these two lows under here. So really what you could look at doing, if you see price run up into here and start to stall in anywhere in this area in here on the cable. It's a big area, I know. I'm not going to call price to the T or anything on this weekly review, but if you see price start to come into here and start to stall and start to wick out and really spend a lot of time in here, you could certainly probably try and put a short position on there and ride that underneath these two lows under here would be my target, and that would be a nice that'd be a nice range if you could get in there. Like let's say price came down in here and then wanted to run for those lows. That's about a 160 to 170 pip range depending on when you got in. That would be a great weekly haul for the cable, and that would be all I'd be looking for. So that's it for cable. I'm not going to talk about a whole bunch else. US CAD I'll briefly touch on. Whole lot of indecision on US CAD as well. I cannot get a line on this guy. It has been bullish when the USD has been bearish. It's been bearish when the USD has been bullish. I can't get a lock on this one. It's been doing everything exact opposite. The US dollar, though, I think we're going to see some higher prices on the US dollar. So I think that's why we're seeing they're building price in here, and I think that's why we're going to be seeing this thing go higher. So as the US dollar was cascading lower last week, you can see this here. 4-hour candle. You can see last week was a down week on the US dollar. US Canadian dollar last week, if I can bring that up, was bullish. So, again, it's we could have seen some underlying strength here in the US dollar. I think personally, I'd like to see them come back up and try to challenge this consolidation level in here for the week. So if we can get a push higher on US dollar, we may get the same corresponding push higher in US CAD, and that's about 120, 130 pip run from current locations. So what would negate that? If we saw price starting to get back down, if price came and wanted to come under into here, into this area here, I'd tolerate, see this candle right there, that high right there, I'd tolerate them coming back down to that candle, no lower. 29.75 would be about my line in the sand. 129.75. If they came down, I'd be looking for them to stall price out there. I don't want to see them go any lower than that. If they go lower than that, then we're probably going to try and come back under here, and do not want that. So keep an eye on that one. And then finally, crude oil. This guy here, great week on it last week. I don't know if you were watching at all, but hopefully you caught some of my live sessions. I said price came and smashed up through this high here, and I wasn't about to buy it in this area in here. I thought they were going to come in and reverse it. Prices are getting very, very strong. They hadn't come back and taken any stops along here, along the way, and it was definitely due for a correction, and that's exactly what she did. Fell right off last week, and you know, two big down days, Thursday and Wednesday and Thursday of last week. Friday moderately had a bit of a retracement there, and then so far Sunday's candle's been open up pretty strong. So we could definitely, and I said this here, 70.83 or 70.80, I guess, would be about the low that I wanted to see price come down to, and that's exactly what it did. Came down and hit it and tagged off of it perfectly, and we've seen a nice reaction so far. Crude as well did create a little bit of a gap in trading rate here, so I would like to see them come down and fill that in. It doesn't have to, and I will just show you this one gap here. Look at this gap way back here. This gap happened back in at the end of September. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. About the third week of September. Price came in and gapped up, and I was expecting a gap fill, and look at them run price for the next basically 3 weeks before they finally came back down. And what did they do? Filled that gap, just as I had said. Took a while, but they did it. So I'm not suggesting that they're going to take 3 weeks to come back down and fill that tiny little gap, but there is a gap there. Rest assured, if they start running this thing up, they will eventually come back down for that gap. And I'd like to see them take it sooner rather than later, because if they come down and fill that gap in right away here, I'm going to expect this thing to go much, much higher. And we could even get up into the up and close to the 80s on this next run up. If you take a fib from the most recent low up to the high, you see price comes down right to the 72, just in between the 72 and 79% retracement level. It's not exact where it is. I just kind of took some relative measurements off of it, but you kind of get what I'm driving at here. You know, price had a nice downward move, and I would expect this thing now to finally start pushing back higher. That's what I'm looking for on the week. If price fails to get above 72, 73 right here, and I'm not going to dial it in exactly, but if we don't see price get above 73, then just watch out, because they may want to come to the downside one more time. So I'll be watching for that, but I am looking for a push higher. And I'm looking for them to capitalize this gap and then make a big push. And then I'll be looking for them to run these highs out. So that's what my outlook is on the week. We had a nice run down, return back up, another failure swing back down, failed to get back to the low, and then price is pushed up and so far taking out that most recent swing high. Very, very bullish activity. I'm expecting more of the same. And again, just this is basically what I'm looking for on the week. So hopefully that is clear as mud. You get the idea. And we should have a pretty good week this week. So keep in mind, I'll be back for London Open live trading again at about midnight, somewhere in and around there, New York time on Tuesday. So you can watch for that. And until then, guys, we will catch up to you later.